in Cuba, the dynamic, and I think this is true in Iran, is that the people in power, the people with political clout, do not suffer under economic sanctions, but people get poor and people get hungry.
Right. A good example is to look at Venezuela. Maduro gets fatter and fatter. He probably wears like a size 68 suit by now. I mean, he's enormous. And yet the average person in Venezuela has lost 20 pounds. Not by trying, because of lack of food. They're eating their pets in Venezuela. That's how desperate it is.
Yeah.
The economic controls, the price controls are devastating and have devastated that economy. I think I saw the other day like 230,000% inflation. I don't even know how that's almost too big to calculate. And yet Maduro gets fatter and fatter. His generals are well fed. And it's been the hard part about getting generals to defect. There's a small amount of food and small amount of money, but it's all going to the president and his cronies. People talk about the top 1% in our country. At least it's somewhat based on merit. The top 1% in Venezuela is based on fidelity to the dictator.
So I started off talking about the chorus of voices clamoring for war with Iran. It's the same voices that have been clamoring for all of these endless wars since 9/11. But they would say that you're being used, that you're being manipulated by the Iranians, and that you'll help them in their propaganda campaign. How do you respond to that?
You know, these are the same group of people who've been misguided since the time of Reagan. You know, they were all criticized Reagan for talking to Gorbachev. I call them diplomatic isolationists. You know, they always want to call people on, you know, the non-intervention side of things. They want to hurl the word isolationist at us, but really they're the ones that want to be diplomatically isolated. I don't accept anything that either Iran, North Korea, or Russia says at face value. I accept it as they're saying it from their point of view and their point of view of their national interest, and that it sometimes probably is deceptive and deceitful. And we do the same thing. We say things in our own national interest. But I'll give you an example of the naivete on the other side. We were in a committee hearing, and one of the Republican senators was arguing, and he says, "I don't care what Tehran thinks." He was arguing for more sanctions, and it's like, I raised my hand and I said, well, if you don't care what they think, I thought you were putting the sanctions on to change their behavior. If you don't know what their behavior is, or at least think what their behavior is and what their opinion is and how they react to the sanctions, then you're not really doing your job here. You know, what are the sanctions supposed to do? Change their behavior.
Hayek might call that a fatal conceit.
Exactly. But that's what we're fighting up here, and it's a very, very small minority of people who get it up here, you know, who really think that either sanctions or war is not the answer. I mean, we got people clamoring for war. I mean, people just blasting the president, saying he should have bombed the crap out of Tehran, you know, that we should just start unleashing thousands of bombs on Tehran, and they have no concern at all for the lives that will be lost. And not only our lives, thousands of Americans, and we will win a war. We can win any war. So, but, you know, are we willing to send 5,000 American kids to die and kill a couple 100,000 Iranians to show that we are the mightiest and can tell people what to do? And in the end, it'll be worse, because in the end, we'll topple that government, and who knows what replaces it, whether it's better or worse. But the history of the Middle East is we don't tend to find Thomas Jefferson as the next leader. We tend to find someone equally as bad or worse.